You go to the Olympics to win a medal, and I achieved that, and the rest of it you don't really plan for. For those who don't know, I broke 6 bones in both my arms and I had a moderate brain injury. My personality changed, so I became very angry. I had no control over my anger. I was in a space where I didn't like who I was, and I didn't know if that was me forever or if what it would be or like how long it would take, because every brain injury is different. I knew that my body was capable, but my mind was like basically going like, what are you doing? You could hurt yourself doing this. Having seen myself crash like 10 different ways, I clip into my pedals and I start pedaling down the hill, riding towards this jump I've just seen myself crash a million times on, and fly through the air and land, and right away, not crashed. I made it. And there was a few times where that happened where pretty much I'd land, pull on the brakes and pull over to the side of the track and cry.
You haven't actually retired, eh?
No.
So where do you stand on it?
Well,
This week on Between Two Beers, we talk to Sarah Walker.
Sarah became a household name in New Zealand after becoming one of the best BMX riders in the world and winning silver at the London 2012 Olympics.
Since then, she's become a member of the IOC's Athletes Commission and is one of the sharpest minds we've had on the show.
In this episode, we talk about her bravery, how she kept pushing forward despite breaking 18 bones in her BMX days, the incredible role she holds now and the responsibility that comes with it, and all the best mindset tips from the legendary David Galbraith. This is an incredibly engaging and insightful chat. You're going to love Sarah and the way her brain works. She's pretty special.
This episode is brought to you by TAB. Got a hunch? Download the new app today and get your bet on. Enjoy.
Sarah Walker, welcome to Between Two Beers.
hey, how are you guys?
Very good. Very excited to have you in. It's actually great to have you two back in the same room. There's no way that you'll remember this, Sarah, but you actually shared the spotlight with Seamus in 2012.
Do you...
No.
I love to share look at terror.
Yeah.
Shay, what happened?
Athlete homecoming after London in Christchurch.
Yeah.
So all of the medalists were on like a bus. We did a tour through Christchurch to spread a bit of goodwill. And then there was like one medalist and a bunch of other people, and they all went to schools.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to be in Sarah Walker's group. So there was me, the coach of the football team, one player, and a few other athletes. And these kids were stoked. Like, they were stoked to see Olympic athletes. And I think I got introduced after Sarah. So they introduced people one by one, and it was like, silver medalist BMX, Sarah Walker. And the kids went crazy. And it was like, kit manager, New Zealand men's football. Seamus, and I remember vividly, it was like this, what am I even doing up here for a start? And yeah, to be introduced after you was quite a humbling experience. But I think the hockey guy that was in the group said, just run with it. Just say you're a shot putter or something like that. Yeah. The kids won't know. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But do you remember going to any of that? Not me necessarily, but the school stuff.
No. After London was just a total whirlwind. It was actually overwhelming. And part of me actually felt a little bit guilty that I wasn't enjoying it as much as I wanted to.
It's probably because the uniform was so baggy. The peak tracksuits were terrible.
I don't know. I grew up in Kodo, and baggy is completely fine. But yeah, I had so many events that I went to that I was just exhausted, especially I'm introverted. So like going out and doing all those things takes a lot of energy. So I had all these amazing opportunities, like going to schools, like traveling the country. I got a lot out of sharing my medal with so many people. I love that piece, but just the sheer amount of energy I had to bring each day across many, many weeks, I was exhausted.
Fair.
And I just wanted to sit at home and just do nothing. But I also didn't want to, I guess, squander the opportunity of and make the most of what I'd achieved. And I guess, yeah, reflecting is it's the only time in my life I got to win a medal. So I'm proud that I made the most of it, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a difficult contrast to grapple with, right? This is your time, but you're not enjoying being in it.
Yeah, and you go you go to the Olympics to win a medal, and I achieved that. And the rest of it you don't really plan for. I didn't plan for for people to see me as a role model. I didn't plan for me to be like in the spotlight. I wanted to be the best in the world at my sport, and the rest was like a byproduct of that. So you had to adjust to what that meant. That byproduct of your success was something I didn't really think about when I was like,
No.
I want to be the best in the world for BMX. I didn't think about going to schools or going around the country and doing lots of things that maybe I feel less comfortable doing. Yeah.
It's a strong start. It kind of leads me into the next question, which we've had a few comments from friends about how lucky we are to have you in with us today, which we totally agree with. But the reasoning for it is that you don't often do this sort of thing. It's like, which makes for our favourite guest, by the way. But you've been a bit elusive for us. And I wondered, is it because you prefer to be private, or you're just very considerate of sort of who you share your time and your story with? Or is it just, mum life?
Mum life is definitely a factor at the moment. I guess a bit of all of the above. Part of it is I felt a responsibility to share my story when I was writing and to help as many people as I could through what I learned and being able to pass that on to other people. Since finishing up writing, I guess I didn't feel like I needed to do anything to remain in the spotlight because someone else can fill that story and someone else can tell their story. And I felt like if I took up that space, it would take away from others, or it would potentially, hinder their opportunities, especially in the sport of BMX. It's not a big sport, and there's not that many people in it. So, like, if I'm not taking up space, someone else can. And then just, I also didn't know how to tell a story beyond BMX either. I just get on with it and do my thing. And it's, you may have gone into my Instagram to do some homework and found pretty much nothing for like the last 2 years. I don't think I've done a single post.
Do you have, because you've got a pretty incredible story, like we were going to tell a pretty incredible story.
It's kind of understandable why you haven't done IG content in the last 2 years with what you've been doing.
Yeah. But
are you comfortable? Like, are you looking forward to sharing more of your story now, or are you in any sort of different place?
I like sharing my story if it helps others. I feel very uncomfortable sharing my story if it's about me. There's a nuance, I guess. Like, obviously, it's about me.
Yeah.
But if the intention is to help others, or if something I say can help others, then I would love to do it. But if it's about helping myself, then I don't like doing that.
I gotcha. Okay, so this is a bit of both, because it is very much about you, but I am fully in the belief that it will help others. Cool. So one of my close friends now is Marcus Daniel, who is a former guest on the Between Two Beers show about 3 years ago, who's a fellow IOC member. Yeah. And he recommended you forward, and I said, yes, we'd love to have her. And I asked him to describe you, and he said, she's like a ninja. She's very unassuming when you first meet her, reasonably quiet, and I think it would be easy for people to think that she doesn't have much to say. But the more you get to know her, the more you realise that she has a really wicked, sharp mind, thinks deeply about everything, and has really well-formed opinions. An example is, I'll ask her a question, and she'll be like, oh yeah, I thought about this 3 years ago, and I made this spreadsheet with 4 different pivot tables, and these are the things that I concluded from it. And I'm just like, holy shit. I was just expecting a one-line answer. So that caught our attention. But speak to that example on the pivot tables. First of all, what is a pivot table? And then is that how you work through complicated decisions?
I feel a little bit embarrassed, but yes. My mum and dad are both teachers. So I guess naturally part of me grew up a bit nerdy. I loved school and I loved studying and I loved understanding things as much as I possibly could. So for that particular example, it was basically we wanted to know as New Zealand what opportunities there would be for someone like Marcus to become an IOC member alongside me.
This is so good.
And I wanted to know what the existing membership was, what the composition, like regionally, sports, gender, and I guess create the most authentic way for him to have the best possible chance of getting into the IOC. And that was the way I did it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, I spent a few days on a spreadsheet. And it was not for, like, I guess, any presentation or anything. It was just for me to go, okay, well, what is that? Like, what does it look like, and how do we create that opportunity for him to be like the most chance of success to get in there. So
as we'll find out, I can understand why you get on really well with Rowan Simpson. If that like, he is the ultimate in how do things work and getting under the hood of things. So the fact that you went to that level of detail is impressive. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, no reason to be embarrassed about it. I think that's such a great insight into how your brain and mind works.
And I really enjoyed it too.
Enjoyed doing it, or enjoyed showing that you had done it and this is how it would work for you?
Enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the process. And even if, say, he wasn't successful, I learned a lot from doing it. So it was kind of, the process itself was awesome, and the outcome was even better.
Mm-hmm. So you currently wear two major hats. You're a mum of two under 5 and an International Olympic Committee member. So to give some context on that, you're one of an exclusive club of 107, including Prince Albert of Monaco, Princess Anne, Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, Lord Sebastian Coe, Pau Gasol, the Spanish NBA player, and former B2B guest Marcus Daniel.
Yeah.
Like, it's a pretty good
cool.
company. Can you tell us about what a big deal this is?
I didn't know to start with. I guess, like, as I mentioned, I grew up in Kauro. There's like 6,500 people in the entire town. One of the first meetings I went to as IOC, we had like breakfast before the day started, and I was sitting next to this guy, and we introduced ourselves, and he was like, "Oh, Sarah Walker, okay." And then he just goes off and starts going, "There's only one Sarah Walker. There's only one Sarah Walker." And I'm like, what is happening? And then we ended up having like a really good chat. Obviously, that's his way of maybe locking in people's names, etc. But really good chat. Finished breakfast, went off. And then I was telling someone the story about how this random guy was singing my name to me at breakfast. And they're like, "Yeah, that was the Prince of Monaco." I was like, I'm glad I did not know that to begin with, because I would have probably handled it way differently. But it really made me, I guess it was the first thing of being like, okay, they're all just normal people. They might have like insane titles like a princess and prince and whatever. But they're people, and they all care deeply about the Olympics and sport, and so do I. So it's just like-minded people hanging out, making decisions about Olympic sport.
They are all normal people. Do you have normal things like a WhatsApp chat with all 107 members in that, like, people are sharing memes and gags and stuff like that? Like, is it
no meme sharing, unfortunately?
But there is a WhatsApp group?
There isn't. There's Threema, because Threema is a bit more secure.
It's a more secure. Yeah. You break out WhatsApp chats for.
Yeah. But I mean, like, there's some people where I'll like have their friends on Instagram and we'll send each other memes. Yeah, for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you also chair a working group tasked with developing the IOC's AI strategy. Mm-hmm. What does that look like?
Well, we finished up the strategy, so I'm no longer chairing that group because it's all the work's done. But yeah, that was wild. I think it was 2022, early, like maybe February. ChatGPT 4 had just come out, I think, and then Google announced theirs, and I think Anthropic announced theirs. Like, there was a bunch in the space of like a week. And I just happened to be in Lausanne at the IOC headquarters, and I was just about to leave for the airport, and I saw the Director General, who's essentially the CEO of the Olympics, and the sports director. I saw them walking. They were having a walking meeting. I pretty much just literally ran up to them. I was like, what are we doing in AI? Like, it is moving so fast. Like, the amount of stuff that's happened in this last week is unreal. And I feel like if it moves as fast as this last week, if we don't look into it like right now, we're going to miss the boat and we're going to be so far behind because it's moving so quickly. And I think my enthusiasm and I guess sincerity of it made them really think about what we were doing. And not long later, I got asked to chair the strategy group for AI, and the only thing was that all of our meetings were going to be from 3 till 5 a.m. in the morning because everyone was on Europe or US time. So they're like, you don't have to chair it because we understand the time. I'm like, no way. Like, I want to be involved because it'll be so cool.
Yeah, just on that point. So my frame of reference is FIFA, having in a previous life gone to HQ and dealt with ExCo members and people like that. Ordinarily, people that are on those sort of committees, in my experience, they're not really first to put their hand up to do something. It's more, hey, we're here, we'll kind of, with respect, we'll enjoy some of the perks, we'll go to the events, but really getting your hands under the hood and doing things. Are you a little bit of an outlier in terms of wanting to do the work?
I don't think so. Like, I guess the people that I'm really good friends with within the IOC, they're all similar to me. Like, we want to get stuff done. And so I guess at the same time, I'm not really concerned about what others are doing or what's considered normal. It's like, what is going to help the Olympics be better? That's my main focus. And so when I saw AI and the potential for it, it's like, we need to be on this boat. So like, let's go. And boat's probably not the right analogy because it's way too slow. Let's be on this plane.
Yeah.
Because it's going to like head off, and once it's departed, you can't get on.
When you're chairing this committee meeting at 3, 5 in the morning, had you had your second child?
No, I did my first.
Oh, so how old was the?
Probably 2. She was sleeping through the night though. So,
Right.
I love that you got into
I was just trying to do the math.
detail.
But I'd wake up at like 2 because I'd want to prep for the meeting, and I was like excited. And then we'd finish the meeting at 5, and then it would take me like another hour to just like wind down from like how cool it was. Because we had like people from a whole bunch of universities around like Europe and USA. We had people from Top Partners, which is the Olympic Sponsors Program. People like Intel, Alibaba, like all their smartest minds, Deloitte, like, and they were all like real AI nerds, and I got to kind of make sure that I extracted as much information out of them as possible to help create like the best strategy. So it was cool.
What's your AI stance, not stance, but like how much are you integrating it into everyday life? And are you an AI expert now?
I'm an AI enthusiast, I'd probably say. So I've done a couple courses on it online, like 6-week courses. One was like real high level looking into it, and then another was like unsupervised machine learning, way more detailed, actually understanding how it works on that process. But just use it most days in different ways. But I like experimenting with technology and what it can do to help me and help others.
This is already painting a very fascinating picture. I'm going to bring in Marcus again because he has told us a good story about your very first IOC session. So these are his words. He said, so this is like the most formal annual thing. It's like a shareholder meeting. All of the IOC members are there. The media is there. It's all recorded. It's all very, very ceremonial and pompous. The executive board is sitting up on stage and there's presentations and blah, blah, blah. And after each topic, they open up the floor for commentary. Now, it's just sort of a given that you pretty much don't speak for your first like year or two as a member. You're sort of soaking it in. And apparently in the past that had been explicit. People have said, hey, look, just a word of advice, just don't say anything for a while. But Sarah didn't get that advice. And in her very first session, she stood up and started asking questions of everyone. Her take on it was like, well, I have questions, so why wouldn't I ask? And apparently it made quite a splash, mostly in a positive way. But apparently there's some of the old guard wondering who this whippersnapper was from the bottom of the world. Marcus loved it and said it's just that kind of Kiwi attitude of, I have some questions, so why would I ask them? Mm-hmm. But do you remember that, and did it make a splash?
Yeah, like you said, I had no idea it was like a thing. I was like I said, I had a question. why not ask it? And
were there like audible gasps in the room?
no, I actually wasn't like reading the room, and I didn't want to because it's quite scary. And one of my things in life is to be brave, which is obviously BMX taught me a lot about. So yeah, I carried that through into the IOC stuff. So it's like, okay, I have a question, I have to be brave, and I have to ask it. And the feedback I got, one was that's not normal. And two was you forgot to say thank you, President. Like I felt like listening to other people, there was like a lot of time wasted on like politeness, I guess. And
Protocol.
Yeah, protocol. And I was like, well, looking at the time, I don't want to take up more time than I need. I don't need to like ramble on. So I just got straight to it. But yeah, so now if I'm going to take the floor, I make sure I like write in my notes, just say thank you, President, and then go into asking a question.
How long ago was that?
9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it speaks to your boldness or personality, I guess, like being outspoken and just not reading the room necessarily, but just like thinking, well, that's what I want to know, so I'm going to ask.
Well, it's a natural curiosity as well.
Yeah, I love being curious, and asking questions is obviously one really good way to be curious. And so, yeah, if it came to my mind and I felt it was important in that context, then I just have to be brave and do it. Yeah.
Love it. We're going to link back up with IOC in the second half, but I want to sort of start building the story of Sarah. So took up BMX riding due to sibling rivalry, wanted to be able to do what your younger brother could and do it better.
Yeah.
Is that the beginning of the BMX story?
Yes and no. So all of that is true, but the main reason I started was because I was bored watching him. So it was an hour and a quarter drive from Kawerau to Tauranga, which was the closest BMX track. And I had to sit in the car for an hour and a quarter on the way there and an hour and a quarter on the way home to sit around and watch my brother ride a bike. And I think I did that for 2 months every week, and was just like, I can't do this for indefinite future. So just have a go. And yeah.
Were you doing wheelies around the neighbourhood at home as well?
We were mountain biking through the forest in Kawerau. So yeah, I'd grown up on a bike, spent a lot of time riding. But yeah, with the BMX, the second I started, I wanted to learn everything my brother already had learned in the last 2 months of his head start, because he's 2 years younger. There's no way that my little brother's going to be able to do anything I can't. Yeah. So yeah, I just went for it. And the only, I guess, unfortunate thing for him was we shared a bike for quite a while. We didn't have a lot of money to be able to have a bike each to start with. So he would do a lap and then I would do a lap, and we'd take turns on the bike. And eventually, mum and dad realised that I was also quite talented at riding a bike. So I eventually got my own. Was
there a time when you realised you were quite talented at riding a bike as well?
Yeah, I think quite early on. I think, I don't know how many club nights it was into it, but maybe only a couple of weeks. I was lucky enough that the national champion for my age group was at the Tauranga BMX track. So every club night I got to race against the best in our country for the 10-year-old girls. And I was very fit from riding mountain bikes, and I did all kinds of sports growing up. So I pretty much just followed her around the track to the last corner, and then down the last straight I'd pass her. And I'd do that in pretty much every single race. I didn't understand how annoying that would be until later on in life. But at the time it was just like, that's what I did to learn.
Is that good strategy though? Like, was that a good?
Not really. Like BMX is 100% from start to finish, and like trying to pass people is a bit of a challenge. So being out in front from the get-go is the best strategy, and not holding back anywhere is the best strategy. But at that point in time, she was better out of the start, and I learned just by following her lines and seeing what she did on the track, and just copy paste and then use my fitness to pass her down the straight.
Did you knock about on a BMX growing up?
Not much, no.
Well, I grew up in Taupo, so we had the BMX track next to the football ground.
Yeah.
I would be terrified at the starting point before going down. Did you have a fear at an early age, or was that kind of bypassed?
Yeah, I think so. I learned that fear is something that we learn. It's not something we're born with. So we learn to be afraid of things, and we learn it through experience or through other people telling us we should be afraid of things. So when you're younger, and as you would see, like a lot of kids seem fearless because they probably are. They haven't learned to be afraid of something. So at a younger age, you're more likely to try things without thinking about the risk or thinking about what could go wrong. So yeah, I wasn't afraid, and I guess throughout my career, through many, many, many injuries, I learned to be more afraid of things because I had very real evidence that existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how soon into your BMX early years did you have your first kind of tumble and realise, oh shit, if I get this wrong, I come off my bike?
I had my first broken bone was in when I was 15, and that was mountain biking, so it didn't really cross over into BMX. It was different. So yeah, I didn't learn about like the bad crashes until I was in probably my 20s in BMX. Yeah, like we'd fall off, I don't know, a few times a year, but it would be like grazes and bruises.
Do you think that helped develop your mindset? Like, have you ever had a few nasty falls when you were younger? Do you think it would have been harder to be as fearless as you were?
I was never fearless. Ever. I was just really brave or stupid.
Yeah.
It's such a good way of flipping that kind of thought pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fearless would have been amazing. I would have loved to be fearless. That would have been so much easier.
Yeah.
But no, I learned to be very courageous. Yeah.
And where does that come from?
A lot of work with my sports psych, David Galbraith, DG. He was like incredible at helping me through I guess processes of how to overcome those fears, or at least not overcome them, but put them to the side for a little bit. And yeah, just do my best and give 100% and see what I'm capable of. And that allowed me to be brave.
Before we get to DG and down the line a little bit, your kind of passion or fire, I understand, was lit in 1996, like a lot of people when they saw Danyon Loader at the Atlanta Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, is that really burnt into your mind as a vivid memory?
Yeah, it is. It was, I was just immediately, like, I want to go to the Olympics. I want to be an Olympian. And I really didn't think it was going to be for swimming. But I just liked the idea of what he'd achieved and what he'd done for New Zealand and that he was the best in the world for his sport. And I was like, I want to do that too. I just need to figure out what sport it is. And I guess, Dad's a PE teacher. So any sport was basically an opportunity or like something I could try realistically. So yeah, I just did every sport that I possibly could.
One little pit stop on the serious story. So we reached out to your mum and asked her, some stuff about you. And she highlighted a period when I think you're maybe 15 or 16 and you went to Outward Bound as really kind of instrumental or fundamental in you figuring out who you were as a person.
Yeah, I went there on a BMX scholarship, and one of the things I was wanting to get from that was whether I committed to BMX full-time or not. Because I was so into school, I didn't want to, I was like, I'm going to finish school, I'm going to go to university, I'm going to study. Like, that pathway was something I always envisioned. And here I was with this kind of realistic opportunity of becoming an Olympian, and that schooling, university journey was going to be a lot different, if not non-existent, to like this plan of how I was going to go through life. So Outward Bound was like a really good way to reflect on what decisions I was going to make around my sport and around education. And I remember getting to the end of the 2-week course, and they do like a little ceremony, and you kind of say whether you deserve this little badge or pin to be like, yeah, I've learned what I needed to. I'm going to go away and carry on with life. Every single person in my Outward Bound group took their pin except me.
Really?
Because, I felt like I'd got a lot from Outward Bound, but I hadn't got to the point where I was like, this is my decision. And I was like, I'll get that pin when I've made that decision. I haven't made it yet, so I don't need that pin. It was the tools that I got from that experience allowed me to make that decision, but it wasn't something I made quickly. Yeah.
So you chose the BMX path.
I chose the BMX path. Yeah.
And at that stage, connecting the dots, it had been accepted into the Olympics by that point. So you were working towards that.
Yeah. So during Outward Bound, it had been it was an Olympic sport too, but I didn't know like what that would look like. It was not an Olympic sport before that. There was no pathway for BMX into that level of competition. So I hadn't seen anyone else do it. I didn't know what it looked like or what things I needed to consider. So it was really like me trying to figure it out.
And in the research, kind of as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, like BMX World, you go to World Champs or World Cups, there's like age categories that you can go through, right?
Yeah.
So you'd been doing this for a little while now, going to World Champs and World Cups already?
Yeah, so 2005 I went to my first Worlds and I was 15. And is that right? No, 2003. And it was in Perth, Australia. And I think that's when we found out it was going to be in the Beijing Olympics. So it was actually at my first World Champs that it was like, this could be a real thing. But I didn't know exactly what impact it was going to have on my life at that point. At that same age, I was like, okay, well, I still want to be an Olympian. And when it wasn't in the Olympics, it was like, okay, what sport? I love BMX, but it's not going to get me to the Olympics. So what other sport do I need to do? And I was thinking about track cycling, but at the kind of right time, right place.
Yeah.
Got to go to the Olympics for the sport that I love the most.
Yeah, I want to bring us to there. So by the age of 20, you're the best in the world. In 2008 season, you won 7 races, came second in 1, didn't race 2, ranked number 1 in the world. And then at the Beijing Olympics, you finished with a 4th.
Yeah.
Like how do you feel about that? How did you feel about it at the time, and how do you feel about it now?
I crossed the line. I was devastated. Like finishing 4th sucks. And especially like it was probably even to this day the most chaotic race I've ever been in my entire career. So like 20 plus years of riding, that race was just insane. Like I didn't have the best start, but by the first corner I was in 3rd. Then out of the first corner I was in like 6th. And then into the 3rd straight, I think I was back in like 5th, and then I got to 4th, and it was just...
Did you try that tactic of like trying to pass the person right at the end?
I really did. It didn't work. It didn't work quite the same as the Tauranga BMX Club. But,
and this is all happening in 40 seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was wild. And I came home from Beijing, and really that was when I grew the most as a person and a rider, which was like what were the biggest learnings that I could take from that experience. And the biggest ones were that my goal leading into Beijing was to go and be an Olympian. It was the same goal that I had as an 8-year-old. I wanted to win gold, but I didn't truly believe that I was good enough. I knew that I could, and I remember a lot of the interviews I did leading into Beijing, it was like, if people asked about, oh, do you think you could win? I'd be like, oh, like it's possible, but BMX, anything can happen. Like if it all goes well, like I could medal, I could win. I don't know, we'll see. Like I was, in hindsight, I was so afraid of being confident in myself because I was so afraid of being considered as cocky. So I didn't want to even go close to cocky, so I didn't even get confident. So that was massive learning.
Do you think that's a real Kiwi thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it took a lot of unlearning to be able to build my confidence in myself. Yeah.
And then between 2008 and 2012, you win 2 world championships. And then in 2012, right before the London Olympics, you dislocate your shoulder.
Yeah.
And you still had a bit of work to do to qualify.
Yeah.
So you've been working, right? You've had this sort of setback in Beijing, and you've got your mindset right, and you know what you got to do. And then you have this thing happen.
Yeah.
Can you take us to there?
So I crashed in, I think it was Norway, and it was in the final of World Cup. I was riding so well and so confidently that I I had a GoPro on my helmet, and I actually raced with the GoPro facing backwards because that's how good I was feeling. Because I was like, well, there's no point just having like that. Most of the action's going to be behind me. So like I was feeling really good, and another rider made a mistake and crashed into me, and then I got a dislocated shoulder, and they were pretty okay. So that's a rough part about the sport, is someone else can make a mistake and you've got nowhere to go, and you're the one that pays for their mistake. But I got home from that event with the injury, and I just basically said, do I need surgery now or can it wait? And I don't need to know how bad it is. I don't need to know any other detail. I just need to know, do I need surgery? Yes or no? No, you don't need it right now. So sweet. Don't tell me anything else. Yeah. And so from then, I pretty much worked with DG, the sports psych, and pretty much every single time I was asked by anyone, like even my team, how's your shoulder? I basically had to say, it's great. Like it's going really well. It's amazing. Never been better. And when it came to like physio, I would do the exact same thing. I would tell them it's fine, but at the same time, so I'd say that out loud, but I guess with my head, I would be like, I'm like shaking my head because I'm lying, but out loud, I'm saying what I want it to be. And basically the idea of that is your subconscious doesn't really know the difference between truth and lie. So if every single time I'm telling myself my shoulder's okay, then my brain is learning that it is okay. And so by the London Olympics, my shoulder pretty much had no pain. I still had a brace that held it, but it wasn't something that I really consciously thought of because I'd told myself so many times, and others, but really it was to myself, that my shoulder is okay. That my brain essentially just was like, well, that signal of pain you're getting must be wrong. We're going to shut off that signal. Yeah. So, by just through repetition and really like telling myself that the signal I'm getting from my body is incorrect because what I'm saying is opposite of that signal.
That's
the
so
signal's
fascinating.
no longer there.
Was that DG? Was that his technique?
Yeah.
Coming straight from him?
Yeah. So that homework. And then I got home from those games and got told how bad it was. And then I was like, now that you mention it, it's quite sore.
That's a pretty hectic mindset that you've got there, where you're almost convincing yourself that you're not feeling pain. Like, is that unique to your situation, or is that something that other athletes have kind of bought into as well?
No, I think, like, as I mentioned, you can tell yourself basically anything and your brain will believe it. I think we're really good as humans telling ourselves bad things. So like, oh, I messed up there, and your brain's going, oh yeah, I did. But probably one of the most powerful things I learned was how to tell myself good things. And the best thing I did was tell myself that I could win a gold medal at the Olympic Games. And for someone that grew up in a small town, kind of felt, well, one of my biggest fears was to be cocky or appear cocky. So I was so afraid of that I didn't even want to be confident. And so this homework I got from my psych was basically tell yourself every morning and every night that you can win gold. So as me being a teacher's pet or loving homework, I went home. I was like, all right, looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I can win gold.
Are you saying it out loud?
Yeah, like out loud to myself in the bathroom, completely alone. Feel like a total loser. It is very weird. But I was committed to the homework. So I went, I can win gold. And kind of laughed at myself. I was like, no, I need to do this. I can win gold. And I said it every morning and every night. And as mentioned, I felt really ridiculous to start with. But I think it was about 6 to 8 weeks, full every morning, every night. At there was some point, and I can't remember exactly when, but it kind of went from just feeling silly to being like, I can win gold. I can. Like, I can do this. And I noticed that as I shifted that mindset and I believed what I was saying, that every time I went to training, I wasn't training like someone who wanted to win or thought it could be possible. I was training like I can win gold. And like when you talk about sports, you talk about those like 1%. And that was like, I don't know, 5%, I felt like, because I approached every single training like a gold medalist, not like someone who wanted to or could, or like it was just like, no, I can. And that self-belief was just insane, so powerful and so exciting and made me feel so empowered. It was really cool. But also off the back of that, I had to learn that it was okay if I didn't. And that was like another piece of homework that I got once I learned that.
Is it a similar vein? Like you're saying that out loud, it's okay if I don't? Like I can win gold, but it's okay if I don't?
Didn't say that part out loud, actually.
Right.
It was like, I can win gold. I am good enough. I am capable. And then every week in my program, I would program failure. And it would become like, as long as I am believing that I can and giving everything that I can to being a gold medalist, that if I don't get it, that's okay. Because there's nothing I could have done more to get that outcome.
I think right at the top, Stephen mentioned, like, are you fearless? And you said no. Like, there's a weird relationship between fear and bravery.
Yeah. So I look at, I've been called fearless many times, and every single time I'm like, there's no way. I think out of all the BMXs that I would race against, that I probably had the most fear. But because I had the most fear, I probably, out of everyone, was the most courageous.
Was that fear from injury, or was it just fear from performance anxiety, or like?
Mostly injury. So across my career, I broke 18 bones and I had 6 surgeries. So I had so much evidence in front of me to say that what I was doing could hurt me. And so if I was up getting ready to race or do a new jump or whatever, like those thoughts of going, yeah, but there was this one time you tried it and it didn't work. And so I had to overcome those thoughts and just be more brave than I was afraid. And yeah, we talked about that 3 seconds, like it just has to be a few seconds where you're brave, and then the rest you can kind of deal with after or put it to the side.
Is it saying out loud as well? Like same thing, I'm brave here, or?
It does work. Sometimes it doesn't. And every now and then it would just be like whatever I did didn't work, and it came back to like just literally swear word, F it, clip in, trust my body, go, do it. And yeah, 99.9% of the time it worked out. So yeah, I think it was like we get told, what is it? Like you need 4 times more positive things than 1 negative thing. And it's like similar to crashing. Like I crashed across the space of riding from 1999 to 2021. Like I crashed a handful of times and got some good, decent injuries. But across that same amount of time, I also mostly didn't crash. But my brain's going, yeah, but you could crash again. And it's like, yeah, but I also am more likely to not crash. So like it's that internal battle of being, okay, thanks, brain, for those thoughts of disaster. But also, how do I do this so that I reduce the chance of that happening or the bad outcome happening?
It sounds quite similar to feedback, you know, if you get 999 people writing, oh, that was amazing, and you get the one person who said that was shit.
Yeah.
That's what your brain pulls you towards, right?
Yeah. Well, we're wired as humans to basically survive, right? And everything we've done over the course of our human history is to survive and create the next generation. And so it is hardwired into us to be, oh, we can't do that because I won't survive, or I can't do that. So that fight or flight response, that's all about like be chased by a lion or whatever. It's like that's not going to happen nowadays, but it still kicks in because it's part of our evolution. So it's the same thing. It's like our bodies and minds are wanting us to survive, and there's moments where we freak out because our brains and bodies are wired to go, hang on, like, wait a second, we need to live. And sometimes it's irrational. And it's figuring out when to be brave and when to be smart. Sometimes two different things. But yeah, sometimes I would be like, either what I'm doing is extremely brave or extremely stupid. And more often I'd reflect and be like, yeah, no, I was extremely brave.
So you had to finish 5th in the semi-final to make it?
At the World Champs, so I got to the semi-final, and I thought at that point like I'd qualified, and I was kind of like, oh yes, like pressure's off. And my coach at the time was like, you could see he was quite his emotions were quite written externally, like, so I could see like, no, something's not quite right. I was like, what do I need to do? Like, I can see that it's not as straightforward as I thought. It was kind of like, oh, no, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. I'd be like, no, I want to know. So eventually I found out that I just needed to not finish last in that semi-final. So I was like, well, that's like kind of easy. If I'm in any position except last, I'm going to the Olympics. And if I'm in the top 4 go to the final. If I'm in 5th and there's an opportunity to go for 4th, but there's a potential risk of crashing and coming last, then I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to take the 5th, not make the final, and go to the Olympics. And that's pretty much the situation I was in. I was going into the last corner in 5th, and I was just like, no. It was the first final at World Champs that I hadn't made in my career. And it was like the happiest. I was like, yes, like I crossed the finish line, just being so stoked that I'd qualified for the Olympics. And it was the last race before the games that I could practice all of my, I guess, mental techniques to be ready, or as ready as I could. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by that part of it, because take us fast forward and take us to the start line in 2012.
Yeah.
As Stephen pointed out before, the race is like 37 seconds.
Yep.
So it's like a big preparation for, I mean, obviously there's races to lead up to the race, but to that race. But how much of it is the mental game and how much of it is the physical game? Because the legs are pumping, I imagine. You've got to worry about balance and staying upright, not being crashed. But it's all done in shorter than I've just asked that question.
Yeah.
Waffle copter.
Yeah. Like that is a kind of a wild position to find yourself in. So what's going through your mind at the start?
Well, yes, like anyone on the gate can win. Physically, anyone is capable of doing it. And so the mental part is the part that separates everyone. For the London race specifically, lane 8, Laura Smulders, waves to the camera as it goes past, and then it kind of goes lane 7, super focused, serious. Lane 6, me, wave to the camera like, hey everyone. And then lane 5, super serious. Lane 4, Mariana Pion from Colombia, waves to the camera, gives a smile. Lane 3, 2, 1, all super serious. The 3 of us that waved to the camera were the 3 on the podium.
Wow.
Which blows my mind. Like, it was kind of that ability to, I guess, really be in the moment and be grateful for the moment and like really own the opportunity, I think was massive. So for sure I was nervous and excited and all the emotions that come with being in an Olympic final, but it was really coming back to like, how cool is this? Like, this might be the only opportunity in my entire life to be here. Let's soak it in and then go give it everything I've got to be the best that I can be in this race. And so how do I do that? Like, well, I need clip my feet into the pedals and set them up to like the right height. I need my knees slightly bent. I need my hips back. I need roll my wrist forward. I need my like shoulders to be down and relaxed. I need my head like looking at the lights. And then it's like, okay, yeah, I feel like I'm ready. And then sit down on my seat waiting for the call and just do some breathing. Like I've got this. Like my process of doing that had been the same for every training session for like the last year, was pretending that was the Olympic final. So in the Olympic final, it was the same as the 1,000 times I'd done it in that year. It was doing the exact same thing. Just a little bit more nerves, but that was what the breathing was for. So when your body is wanting to go to flight or fight mode, if you take some deep tummy breaths, it's going, okay, you're not running from a lion for your life. Like you are in a position where you're safe, and that this is something different. It's not life or death. Kind of. I mean, BMX is, but you know what I mean.
What's wild to me is that what you've described is almost a carbon copy of Dame Lisa Carrington talking about her process.
Yes.
At the start, and it's just
that doesn't surprise me.
It's DG's fingerprints
exactly.
all over it, right?
He's her psych too.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's crazy. But then when the gate goes and you're in that 40, how much is like the eyes just roll back in the head and you're just doing what you do, or are you consciously like, I'm in third, I'm in second, I'm in fourth, I'm in this? Do you know what I mean?
I remember the gate dropped. I was like, basically pedal, like push through the bottom of the hill, and then like push off the first jump, fly through air, like land smooth, 2 pedals to the second jump, take off, like land. And then it wasn't until the landing of the second jump that I was like, shit, this is a race. You need to be like covering your inside line, because there was me and the Colombian girl. We were side by side, and the rest of the field was like way back behind us. And yeah, so there was an element of me just being like fully in my bubble and my process, focusing on what I needed to do to perform. And then it was like, oh shoot, that's right. I need to like also adapt to what's happening around me. And yeah, then I came around the first corner, got into second. And pretty much just was trying to do my best on each jump of the track and each part. So I remember the first jump out of the first corner, so on the second straight, I came up a little bit short and lost some speed. And it was just like, basically throw away that bad jump, and it's like, what's the next one? Okay, I need to do this, and really focus on what's ahead of me and what I can do within my control to do that the best I can. It would have been very easy in the past to be like, oh man, like I screwed up on that one. And then all of a sudden the next jump's there and I screw up on that one too, because I'm still thinking about the jump behind me. And then the third straight, I just like nailed, like it was like jump, manual, jump, pump down, like, and just basically talked my way through every single skill that I needed to be able to do that straight the best that I could. And I came into the last corner with so much speed, I actually caught up to the chick in front of me too much, and I then had to like kind of avoid crashing into a back wheel. And then the last straight, because of that, was just shambles, and I was like, okay, just survive and like get to the finish line as quickly as possible, because my plan A was out the window, and I was on plan B, and yeah, across the finish line. And just I remember thinking like it felt like winning, because I'd done the best start that I could have. I'd done the best first straight that I could have. Like, and then after that first corner, it was like I did everything I could have in that situation to do my best race. And in that moment, in that one-off race, there was one person in the world better than me. And even though I said I could win gold and I didn't, it didn't matter. Like, I'd executed my best in the most high-pressure situation that you could possibly be in sport. And that was like winning. So every interview I did after that was just like I felt like I'd won. And because of that, the really interesting part was the amount of people that congratulated me on winning because of how I talked about it. It was really, really fascinating. Like, I didn't mind correcting them that I actually got silver, but even to this day, I will get people who.
I feel like that was my memory that you did win. Like, you know, now that you say it, like I do. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, because I was so, like, I spoke like I felt, and I felt like I'd won because of the performance I'd given.
Would have been so much worse if you did win gold and I was the next person after you to be announced at that Christchurch primary school.
I did it for you. I got silver just for you.
Thank you.
That's such an insane adrenaline dump, eh? Like 45 seconds, and then you cross the
37?
line.
37?
I think it was 38 at
Yeah.
London. Yeah.
Yeah. Just on that back at the start, I just was wondering, you know how you waved at the camera?
Yeah.
Was that pre-planned? Like, had you thought about how you're going to respond to
Yeah,
the
I think
camera?
so. Yeah. So it was also like there's lots of cues where it's like remind yourself of, I guess, the important things and what you need to focus on. And for me, it was that ability to kind of go and drop into that real serious focus, I guess, as late as possible. But because like, the race is so short, if you add in like another minute of being focused, it's a lot of time to be like really fully dropped into serious mode.
Yeah.
And so it's like I want to drop into that mindset as close to the start as possible. And I spent a lot of time practicing that, but I've seen other people who have that mindset through an entire day, and it must be so hard and so challenging. Like I couldn't do it. But me being able to go, okay, well, I am just like enjoying the moment, enjoying hanging out with my mates, riding bikes, and then it's like on the start line, drop into that performance and then cross the finish line and then go enjoy hanging out with mates again. And doing that makes it more sustainable for me.
I wonder whether you inspired Finn Butcher with the old mana wave at the you know what I mean? Like just those little things, again, to think about the ripple effect of things that you did back, whether that fast forwards in the future.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think probably culturally within their sport is pretty chill too. I don't know if you've had Mike Dawson on, but he's another Kiwi that does like epic things and he's pretty chill. So I can imagine him doing something like that as well.
I love the detail. I love this question. You win silver. You have captured the nation's attention. Like you are huge front page news everywhere.
Yeah.
What does it look like for you after that race? Like your phone, what does your phone look like? And are you able to sleep that night? And what is like the next few days in that week?
So BMX was 2 days before the closing ceremony. So it's really fascinating. So we were early in the morning in London, had to time up with the US broadcast. So our race was quite early. So we were having breakfast at 5 a.m. most mornings leading in, and that was our time zone. And as you got closer towards the end of the games, like the amount of people turning up drunk to breakfast at the Olympic Village, it was, and the amount of people that were, I wouldn't say depressed, but like the sadness or the, I guess, the vibe of the village became more, maybe sad. I don't know if that's the right word, but I guess I hadn't thought about it, but like you've got 10,500 athletes, and in each sport there's only 3 people or 3 teams that can win a medal. Most people don't get anything. So with like 2 days left of competition, like most people have not won a medal. And it's quite a weird environment to be in when you're like about to go race. And so, it was,
That's why they kick everyone out now.
Yeah.
Once you finish, you're out.
But it was interesting. And then I competed. Obviously, I had success in that moment, but pretty much from then I was whisked here and there for interviews, and then to the Olympic House, New Zealand team, and then I think I went out and I was like, well, when else do you get to be a medalist at the Olympics and make the most of it? So I think from when I won my medal to the closing, I slept, I think, 2.5 hours, which was like 2 days. I think by the time I got on the plane, it was like 55 hours with 2.5 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And on the plane home, I like pretty much tapped out. I was not long before landing into Auckland, I was on oxygen.
Was it? Really?
Yeah.
I was wrecked.
Yeah, wow.
And then had to pretty much like get everything myself together and do heaps of interviews when I landed into Auckland, having just been on oxygen.
Holy yeah.
And just be like, yeah, it was sweet as.
But yeah, it was wild.
And how much does life change when you return home as a silver medalist? It's, I imagine, sort of sponsors and brands and wanting to do things. You've got that sort of financial security.
How quickly did Beef and Lamb come calling?
Well, yes, I was going to mention Beef and Lamb. So Beef and Lamb actually rang me after 2008 Olympics when I finished fourth.
Iron Maiden, is it?
Yeah, Iron Maidens. And I was completely like, there's no way, because you currently sponsor Sarah Ulmer and the Ever Swindell twins. And they're all three of them are Olympic champions, and I just finished fourth. I'm not worthy. But they wanted me on board, and I actually spent that 4 years between 2008 and 2012 with Beef and Lamb already. And I did I guess leading into 2008, because BMX was first time at the Olympics and I was a world champion in 2007, there was already a bit of like spotlight, I guess, on me in the sport. And then add in Beef and Lamb, I kind of, I guess, got not baby steps, it was quite big baby steps, but 2008 was like, okay, a few people know who I am now. And then I got onto a Beef and Lamb TV ad, and that was the biggest
game changer.
Oh, it was like, it was being an Olympian, and then there was like being on TV. No, I didn't do the dancing one. Yeah, I didn't get to do the dancing, which I don't mind. But yeah, it was being on TV and being on a TV ad was actually probably the biggest shift in my popularity, I guess. And then winning a medal definitely was like another level again, but it wasn't from no one to someone, I guess. That's the right way to put it.
All right, so silver in London. I imagine gold in Rio is the goal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite follow that path. And there's a ton, we've deliberately not spoken about injuries until now, but there's a ton of injuries and I'm kind of keen to get into that.
Yeah.
But interestingly, I want to bring in former guest Rowan Simpson, who Shay mentioned before, because we asked him about what part of your career he found most interesting. And he said, I'd love to hear her talk in more details about her bad crash in California. She has some amazing GoPro footage from her helmet cam, he says. But more importantly, the process she went through to recover mentally after that. He said, I reckon most of us would have struggled to get back on a bike after something like that, let alone back to racing at the higher levels. How did she do it?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I found that one of the easier ones to recover from. So for those who don't know, I broke 6 bones in both my arms and I had a moderate brain injury. And the brain injury was the one that took the longest to recover from. It was 5 months, I wasn't allowed to ride for 5 months. And during that 5 months, I basically, it got down to like every 2 weeks, they're like, you're not ready, come back in 2 weeks. You're not ready, come back in 2 weeks. And I didn't know if there was going to be an end to that or whether I'd ever get clearance to race again. And I guess early days of that head injury was like, I wouldn't wish that for anyone, where my personality changed. So I became very angry. I had no control over my anger. And that was really tough because I was also self-aware of my anger and I didn't like it, but it would just happen. So I was in a space where I didn't like who I was and I didn't know if that was me forever or if like what it would be or like how long it would take, because every brain injury is different. And so, yeah, I really struggled with that. But towards the end, it was just drawn out and frustrating because the only thing that was stopping me from riding was me being honest or not with the neurologist. So basically they're like, how are you feeling? Like, have you had headaches? Like you can't measure that.
Yeah.
It's me being honest or not honest.
Especially when you put the framing of the DG shoulder into the mix as well, where you were audibly saying something about an injury.
Exactly.
Was that playing on your mind at the same time? Or do you not mess around with?
Yeah, not really because of the brain. I was like, well, like if I hit my head again and it's not healed properly, then, I mean, that's my life. Where if I hurt my shoulder after hurting my shoulder, it's not great, but it's not my life type thing. So when it was my brain, it was something I took very seriously, and especially those early days where my personality was different. I was like, I don't want to risk having a
my personality be something I don't like about myself.
How long did that personality kind of situation last for?
I remember having headaches for 6 weeks straight. I think after 6 weeks was the first moment. I think I got like a 2-hour slot where I didn't have a headache that day. But the personality, I remember a specific time where I was doing the dishes. So obviously enough time had passed for my arm breaks to heal. And I was doing the dishes and I got splashed by like the tiniest piece of water and I lost it.
Yeah.
I like went to throw the plate in the sink and swore at the top of my lungs and just had to leave the room. I didn't come back because it was just, and I'm like, this is from being splashed by a tiny piece of water.
Yeah.
Doing the dishes. I mean, like it happens pretty much to most people most days.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was important at that time that I kept a diary of my symptoms, and it was only through seeing it like, 3 weeks ago, it was actually worse than it is now. But if I didn't have that diary, I would have felt like I was not getting better at all. So to get to the answer of your question, at 5 months when they're like, you can ride again, it wasn't, oh man, I'm scared of hitting my head. It was like, I thought I would never get the opportunity to do this again. How cool and how lucky am I to do this again? And so I like rode with like this insane amount of gratefulness of like being able to do the thing that I loved once more. And it was, it wasn't until I was going faster and almost at my best again that I actually started being afraid at that point.
And is that when you flip it to being courageous?
I think the whole time there was courage, but the courage actually had to be stronger as I got faster, because my biggest fear was basically getting as fast as I had ever been again, which takes a long time, and then getting injured again, because the journey to get back to being the fastest you've ever been takes so long. So it's easier to get injured quicker or early when you're still kind of slow, and use slow, like I guess in relative terms. But it was my fear at when I was going well was the highest, because the impact of an injury or of a fall would be much greater. So I had something to be more afraid of.
This was one of many. Like, is it 18 bones?
Yeah.
You've broken across.
But like I said, 6 were in one. So
6 were in one. Yeah. But is there an expectation that someone's likely going to come off in each race?
Yeah.
Like, are there stats on it?
Yeah, I think there is, but you just kind of.
They're in a spreadsheet somewhere.
There's some data you don't want to know the answer to.
Yeah.
And it's. I remember being in a race actually in Manchester, and I was on the top of the start hill. It was in a semi-final of a World Cup, and an Aussie girl, Saya Sakakibara, who actually won the gold medal last year in Paris, she crashed on the first jump and got knocked out, and she got stretchered off pretty much unconscious, and I was up at the top of the start hill having had a brain injury, just seeing that. And this track's pretty like condensed, short first straight, like everyone's going to be close together. And I was just like, why do I do this? Like, what kind of crazy person chooses this as their sport?
Yeah.
And I had all those thoughts going through my head while I'm watching her remain unconscious and be stretched off. And then it's like, okay, well, what do I need to do to, I guess, reduce the chance of crashing? And I need to ride my best. Okay, how do I ride my best? I need to clip in with both my feet, set up my pedals, roll my wrist forward, set my body position, relax my shoulders, look at the lights, and get ready for that start. Take some deep breaths and do that. And then when the gate drops, pedal as hard as I can, push through the bottom of the ramp, push off the first jump, like fly through the air, get the landing smooth. If I do all of those things and I crash, then it is what it is. But if I am not doing those things and crash, then that's annoying. Like, I could have potentially prevented something by being more focused on me and how I do my best. If I'm not doing my best and crash anyway, then that's really annoying.
Man, there's so much mindset stuff here. This is a great place to bring in DG because you mentioned him a few times and we went to him and asked about you. I want to read you what he said. Perhaps the thing I admire most about Sarah is her ability to control her emotions when it really matters. She has an incredible depth of courage in face of the highest fear. She was able to find courage at times when others couldn't, and that was her point of difference. Sure, she was an amazing BMX rider, but it was her mindset when up against all the odds that made her one of the world's best. I can't remember how many serious crashes she had in our time working together, so her fear was very real, and this sport is crazy. Brutal, fast, scary sport. Yet at times when needed, she just seemed to tap into a place, drop in and send it. She tapped a powerful focus at these points.
Yeah. Yep.
I wanted to spend some time digging into the influence of DG.
Yeah.
It's emotional,
so that
right?
makes me tear up,
Yeah. There is such a theme amongst so many of New Zealand's top athletes we had the privilege to chat with of the impact he's made. But I was hoping you could share some of what a session with DG looks like and perhaps some wider themes of how he's helped you.
Yeah. So, oh man, there's so many sessions that I've done. I worked with DG for like 13 years, so there's a lot of things that I guess could stick out. One session that I can think of, excuse me. Well, there's a few. The first one that comes to mind, and it's maybe not specific to fear as BMX fear, but fear of like what other people think. So the sessions themselves were good, but it was the homework that he gave me that were great. And this specific homework, he told me to basically pick a session in training where I would fail and no one would know that I had, like, I guess, intentionally failed and that they would judge me for it. And so I remember picking a day of the week that was like the perfect day to ride the track. And I had my coach, Ryan Hollows, and I had my teammate, training partner. And it was like Bluebird Day, slight tailwind on the first straight, and we were doing first straight, so like the perfect day to ride. And the track was running fast, and I decided that the first jump, it wasn't unrealistic for me to sometimes not jump it because it might be windy or whatever, but on this day it would be weird if I didn't. So on this day I chose that I wasn't going to jump this jump on purpose because I knew that my teammate and my coach would judge me for it. And so this was part of the homework. I couldn't tell them. So we start the session. We warm up and I don't jump the first jump. Pedal down the hill as fast as I can and then brake and then roll through. My teammate, or training partner, she jumps it and then we kind of get closer to the session, finishing warm up and getting into the session, and they're like kind of really encouraging to start with. They're like, come on, like it's perfect day, you got it. And I'm like, yeah, knowing that I'm not going to do it today. And then it kind of turned from encouragement to kind of, I guess, confusion, like, come on, like you've got it, like what's happening? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting there. And again, pedaled down the hill, braked, rolled through. And then we got kind of halfway through the session being like, are you going to do it? Or like, what's happening? And like internally, I'm like, just anguish, like wanting to be like, I'm doing this on purpose, DG made me.
This is an experiment.
Yeah, stop judging me. Like I can feel your judgment. And by the end of the session, I had committed. I didn't do it and I hadn't also told them. So I got to the end of the session and coach was like quite confused and a little disappointed that for such a perfect day that I couldn't be brave enough to do it that day. And my teammate was like, oh man, that was such a fun session. And I was just like, oh, it would have been such a cool day to do it. But this was more important than just like a physical riding session. So yeah, I got in the car and just like sat there just knowing that they'd judged me at like every point of that day. Then I got home. I wanted to message them, be like, explain the situation. I'm like, no, I need to commit to this homework. And then I got to after dinner and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And
just wanted to feel better about the fact that they were judging me and to take that all away and just like whatever, explain it to them so that I felt good. And at some point after dinner, I guess I just questioned myself on like, why does it matter what they think if I know that I did it on purpose? I know that I could have done it. Do I need them to like have seen it to know like that I could have done it myself? Like, do I need other people to witness it to know I'm capable? And I guess at that point I was like, I don't need them to see it to know that. Like, I know why I did it, and I know that I could have done it. I could have jumped it if I chose to, but I also know why I didn't jump it. And if I know that, why do I need anyone else to know that? They can judge me, but they don't have all the information. I have all the information, and I'm not judging myself for not jumping it. They're judging me based on not having the full picture. So if I can get to that point where I have that, I guess, self-awareness and self-belief and self-assurance of why something happened or why it played out the way it did, and I can handle that with my coach and my training partner, like two people that I really respect their opinion and I really respect like what they do and how they do it. But if I can handle their judgment, then I can handle, I don't know, for lack of better words, a keyboard warrior. They've got even less of the picture. So if I can handle my coach who sees me like pretty much every day of the week and trains with me all the time, understands like my mindset a lot, if I can handle his judgment, then I can handle pretty much anyone's judgment. So it went from kind of, I guess, the ability to go, I can win a gold medal. And if I don't, and people judge me saying, you said you could, and be like, yeah, I did. And that's okay. I know what I did and I know what I put in. And if you still judge me for, I guess, failing, that's okay. You don't have the full picture. And so like that one session allowed me to just be like, I guess, yeah, believe in myself even more without worrying about what other people may think of me. And that like allowed me to go that next level. Yeah.
Did you ever tell them? Are they finding out for the first time now? I knew that session, something was off.
They could be finding out through this podcast. I have told that story a couple times to a few people, so they might have found out. Yeah. But I've never told them directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. And did you go back into your session with DG? Like, I did it, and you sort of you help understand why you've done it afterwards. Like you didn't know at the time, and then
yeah. Well, it was that I guess epiphany moment after dinner. I was like, I know why he made me do this homework now. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did these lessons come in the Rio 2016 journey? Are they prior to that or are they after that?
A lot of it was pre-London. Cool. My journey between London and Rio was really not about winning a medal. Because when I won my silver, I realized literally as it went over my head and like I felt the weight of it around my neck. And I was like, okay, for the last, I don't know, it was 45 minutes or so between like crossing the finish line and the medal presentations. It was the feeling that I had of like pride and like just being so stoked on like another level was unbelievable. That the medal going around my neck and hanging like and having the weight there wasn't actually more than the feeling I'd just been experiencing. So it made me feel like I wasn't actually doing it for the medal. Like I did it for the feeling of like being under the ultimate pressure and doing my best in that moment. And so for the next 4 years through to Rio, it wasn't like, I need to do one better and win the gold medal. It's like, actually, my goal now is to see what I'm truly capable of and not have any like cap on what that could be. And that really motivated me. It's like, it's not like we're aiming for this lift in the gym and you need to be like this strong or this fast or whatever. It's like, let's not put any like number on what I'm capable of. Let's just give it 100% and see what that number could be.
I don't want to leave DG land quite yet before we move on, because that was such a brilliant insight. Like, that was so cool. Are there any other little nuggets that spring to mind?
Yeah. So, like, I guess to cover why I got emotional hearing that was because there's so many jumps where, like, I knew that my body was capable, but my mind was like basically going like, what are you doing? You could hurt yourself doing this. And I would have to, I guess, visualize, like close my eyes and visualize myself like riding down the start hill, pushing through the bottom, taking off, flying through the air and landing successfully. And a lot of time it would be like, oh, I don't believe that I can do it. And it'd be like, okay, try again. Close my eyes, pedal down the hill, push through the bottom, take off through the air, land. Okay, I can kind of believe it a little bit more now. And I would do it over and over until I got to the point where it was like, close my eyes, pedal down the hill, push through, take off, fly through air and land, and be like, yep, I believe it. And then I'd immediately go because it would be like, I like have to trust that.
Yeah.
There were times where I would close my eyes, pedal down the hill, push to the bottom, take off, fly through the air and crash. I'd be like, okay, thanks, brain. Don't need that right now. Close my eyes, pedal down the hill, blah, 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 crash again. Brain, come on, work with me here. Close my eyes, pedal down the hill, jump, crash. Jump, crash, jump, crash. My brain would just like figure out every way I could possibly visualize crashing. And at some point, I'd just be like, well, my brain's not playing ball with me right now. My body is going to have to prove my brain wrong. And I just had to go, okay, pedal as fast as I can, push through the bottom of the hill and push off the takeoff as even as possible. And then that, like from that point on, will be what it'll be. And hopefully my body can prove to my mind that I can do it. But it won't be until I've finished that I've shown it. Yeah. And so like having seen myself crash like 10 different ways, I clip into my pedals and I start pedaling down the hill, riding towards this jump I've just seen myself crash a million times on, and fly through the air and land and ride away. Not crashed. Like I made it. And there was a few times where that happened where pretty much I'd land and I'd pull on the brakes and pull over to the side of the track and cry. Because like I'd put the fear of crashing to the side to just be like, I have to trust my body. My brain wants to think of every way I could fail, and I just have to know that like the chance of me failing are there, of course, but also the chance of me being successful is way greater. I've done this a long time. I've done this jump many times. Like my body knows what to do. I just have to trust that. And yeah, those moments were the hardest. And a lot of time you'll be like, I just want to feel confident before I do something. And it's like, it sucks, but you won't feel confident until you've done it and you've proven to yourself that you can. And so those moments are really like gold to go, like, yeah, you want to feel good about something before you try it. Well, unless you've done it a million times, you're not going to feel confident. You're not going to believe you can until you've done it a million times. And so, yeah, it's just those things or those moments where it's just emotional to put that fear and the thoughts of failure aside and just do it anyway. It's just like, it's a lot.
Yeah. There's a quote that Jessie Smith suggested that you've shared with her.
Yeah.
Which is, you've just got to be brave for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Is that what you're speaking to there?
Exactly. Yeah. So Jessie Smith won a junior world title in BMX. I helped her when she was, well, a little kid basically, right through her career. But yeah, so she's like family in a way. But yeah, you just got to be brave for like 3 seconds. Like that's how quick something in BMX is. And so from the top of the hill, clipping in to riding as hard as I can down the hill and committing, like I don't have to be brave for a minute. I have to be brave for 3 seconds. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We asked your coach, Ryan Hollows, and your friend, Laura Smulders, what their favourite Sarah Walker stories were, and they both said the same thing.
No way.
And it's your bronze medal from 2018.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about why they would both put a bronze ahead of some of the higher honours and the story behind that?
So I think majority of my 18 broken bones were before that race. And I guess, that 2014 crash where I did both my arms and my head injury, it was like, okay, may never do this again, and then came back. And there was many races I went to where like my potential was there, but I didn't get the outcome or the result. And I guess that training of like I knew what I was capable of and other people could judge, but I knew within myself I could do it. That helps to a certain extent, but it doesn't help when it's been like years without a podium. And I kept believing in myself and I kept going, no, I can do this. I know I can, and kept going to races and I guess being proven that I couldn't. But then coming back and going, no, I know I can. I'm going to keep going. Like, I can do this. I know I'm still fast enough. And I went to that race and I, got bronze across the finish line. And it was just like this, I knew I could. Not so much to like, a little bit to everyone else who doubted me, but also to myself. Because like doubt creeps in of like, am I actually any good? Am I washed up and should just stop now? And is that self-belief just like, I don't know, bullshitting myself? Is it? And then to cross that line, it was like, I was right to believe that I'm good enough. And that feeling of like, it didn't matter. Like they said, it's bronze. I didn't win.
Yeah. Was it that same feeling of like you had in London, that those moments after the race before the presentation where you're just soaking in that feeling?
Yeah. Yeah, I crossed the finish line and it was probably the only race I've actually like cried because of the result. But it meant so much to my belief in who I was as a person and what I was capable of. To have that justification of believing in myself was like the best feeling. And it didn't actually, like the colour of the medal or whatever, didn't matter. It was just like, yes, I was right to believe that I'm good enough. And that's one of the best feelings in the world.
You haven't actually retired, eh?
No. And even when I said, like, if I talk about it, it's like, oh, when I finished riding.
Yeah, I noticed that straight away because I knew this question was coming up later on.
So where do you stand on it?
Well, I met was an Italian swimmer at one of the Olympics who was like 44 and wasn't retired. And I was like, oh man, that's pretty impressive. Like, wow, that's like, you must be insanely good to keep like going at 44. It's like, oh no, I finished ages ago. And it just kind of struck me. I was like, that's kind of cool. I like what is retirement for from sport? And for me, I guess I looked at it as if I retire or announce in a retirement, it is like, I guess, allowing people to talk about my career and allowing people to go and be like, look at what Sarah did. And I felt uncomfortable about that reflection. It was just like, I didn't want it to be about me. And I didn't need like a congrats or a party or a lunch or whatever. It was just like, I'm satisfied. My main goal in riding was to get to the end of my career, professional career, and still love my sport. And I achieved that. Like I didn't get selected for the Tokyo Olympics, and the day I found out, I went and rode my bike.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I actually was pregnant at the time. But like it was so cool. Because you don't know, like I said to myself, like I'm doing it because I love it. whether I get selected for Tokyo or not, like I'm still doing it because it's fun. Until you're faced with the reality of that, like you haven't been selected, like am I just telling myself I'm doing it for fun, or do I really care about being like, am I only doing it to go to the Olympics, or am I actually doing this because it's cool? And until you're faced with the reality of like, okay, you're not going to the Olympics, it's like, okay, well, were you full of it?
Yeah.
Or was it like a legit love for the sport? And the fact that I got that moment and that experience of going, actually, yeah, I did it because I loved it, is like so cool.
Yeah.
That was enough to go, yeah, I'm happy.
Seamus hasn't retired from football either.
No, I just stopped playing.
Yeah.
Buried in the detail here, in that 2016 story, you're watching, spoiler alert, Sarah didn't go to the Olympics,
Yes.
if you didn't know. So you're watching back here in New Zealand, perhaps expecting a call from another former guest, Eliza McCartney, who sought you out for a little bit of advice maybe?
So at Halberg Awards, I think it was early 2016, she was up for Emerging Talent, I think, and she'd just qualified for the Games, and I went up and talked to her, and she was like, oh, you know, like I'm really young, and like it's my first Olympics, pole vaulters don't medal, like at this age, most people don't medal at their first Games, like I'm just going for experience, blah, blah, blah. So many things of how I spoke about my first Olympics. Like, I'm just going for experience. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, it's possible I can medal, but like, whatever, we'll see. And my, I guess, alarm bells went off like, oh, if only I knew what I knew now, and here's an opportunity to go and give that lesson to Eliza if she wants it. And basically, she was amazing. Like, she was open to going, yeah, keen, I want to learn. And we just worked together. I think every week we would be in touch about her sessions and like things to focus on, working through that process of like, it was cool because I didn't know, I guess, the technical details of pole vault, but I could be like, explain to me how you would do your run up. Like if it was the best in the world, what would it look like? Or what would it feel like? What would be like the 1, 2, 3 process? And she would write it down. I'm like, okay, that's your like starting point. Because no matter what environment you're in, and whether you're at like the Millennium training doing pole vault in Auckland, or whether you're at the Olympic final, that's still going to be the same. So practice that, and then like worked on all the stuff I had learnt, and just told her, go enjoy it. And if on the morning of your competition you're just like freaking out that this is the Olympic final and it's a bit overwhelming, because like I remember writing an email actually to DJ the night before my competition being like, I've worked towards tomorrow for so long, I haven't thought about the next day. Like, what happens the next day after the Olympics? Like tomorrow is the day, and then it's like, and then what? So the morning of, you're like, there is like tomorrow, there is no tomorrow. It's only today. And so I'm like, if you have that moment on the morning of competition, ring me. I'll leave my phone on anytime, like just ring me. So I think it was about 2 a.m. in the morning, my phone rings. And it was the only night I'd left my phone on overnight. And I answer thinking to hear Eliza's voice. And it was the head of the athletes department of the IOC. So he's like,
how are you in the pole vault final?
I was like so confused, obviously waking up 2 a.m. to, I'm like, what? And he's like, make sure you have your phone on you. The president of the IOC is going to call you soon. And I'm like, he's like, that's all I can tell you. It's like, what? Okay. Go into like full like sweats, everything, like what is happening? Like, why am I getting a phone call from the president of the IOC during the Olympic Games? Like, what is happening? And so held my phone at 2 a.m. in the morning, like staring at it, waiting for the phone call, because he's like, he's going to ring you soon. The phone rings at 5 a.m.
3 hours.
3 hours. I'm like, just waiting, like any second he's going to ring, any second.
Full of anxiety.
And he's like, Sarah, we want you to be on the Athletes Commission. We have the option to appoint people, and we want you to be part of it. But you need to be in Rio tomorrow to like do the protocol part of becoming that. Otherwise you have to wait a whole nother year for the same opportunity. I was like, all right, yep. It's like, okay, I'll put you in touch with our travel people and you sort out the travel. So literally at 5 a.m. in the morning, I was like...
Did you say thank you, Mr. President?
Well, I didn't know protocol at that point, so I was probably like, oh, yeah, sweet, thank you. Cheers. I got put on the very next flight to Rio in Brazil, drove home to Cambridge, grabbed my passport, packed my bag, drove back to the airport, jumped on a plane, flew to Rio, became an IOC member, watched the closing ceremony, and then flew back home via Dubai from Brazil, which is like the worst, like longest way around the world because my flights have been booked so late.
Had this been in your like bingo card?
Not at all.
Yeah, how did this all play out in the background? How did it come to be that?
Yeah, so NZOC or New Zealand Olympic Committee nominated me to be the athlete nominee for the International Olympic Committee's Athlete Commission. So basically the athlete voice within the Olympic movement. And we thought... Like New Zealand's not a massive country on the world stage in terms of number of athletes at the games. Like there's 10,500 athletes. New Zealand team's about 200. BMX isn't exactly a massive sport within the game, so you're not going to get like all the BMXers, even if they all vote for me to be an athletes commission. Like I'm still falling probably a few thousand votes short.
Yeah.
So we made the assumption that I wouldn't get elected. Or that being elected would be pretty challenging. And so for a year leading into the games...
Is this the spreadsheet coming to life?
This is what led to the spreadsheet because I didn't have a spreadsheet when I did it, but I didn't know what to put in the spreadsheet. So with hindsight, I was like, okay, we're going to learn what I wish I had. But I got 5th in the voting and the 4 top people get elected and become IOC members on the Athlete Commission. And I got 5th by 27 votes out of 10,500 athletes get to vote 4 times each.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, instantly I was like, oh man, like when I found out I was 5th, I was like, oh man, that's pretty good considering. Found out it was 27 votes. I was like, oh man, I should have gone over and campaigned because I chose not to because I thought by going over, I take up a bed of someone else that might need to be there more than me just
some kit manager for the New Zealand football team.
Yeah, exactly. We need the kit manager there. Way more important. So yeah, I was really engaged in the process because I thought, again, I guess that mentality, this might be the only chance I get to do it. I'm going to do it the best I can. So the whole process of leading into the actual vote, every time we engaged with the IOC, I was curious. I was asking questions. I was like, what about this idea? Like, I just loved the whole thing. And I think they enjoyed the amount of engagement I had and the contribution I gave, and they wanted me to be part of it.
So sport governance was kind of like something that you were really interested in?
Not at all. I had no idea. I love the Olympics. I wanted to be an Olympian, and being able to be part of, I guess, the organising part of it, I was like, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know what I'm getting into, but sure. That, like anything Olympics is going to be epic. So.
And what's the difference between the Athletes Commission and what you're doing now?
So now I finished being on the Athletes Commission in Paris last year. So it was an 8-year term. And I guess I did a good enough job that they actually wanted to keep me around even longer. And so I became an independent member or individual. And that means that, I'm there outside of the Athletes Commission. And in some weird way, or cool way, I guess, in the Athletes Commission, in the IOC, you are part of pretty much every decision. Like the athlete voice within the Olympic movement is so strong and so influential. It's like really exciting to be part of that group because athletes need to have a say in everything. And as an individual member, I don't need to be across every part of the movement. So as an individual member, I'm more around like the technology piece and esports and like, I saw your reaction to esports.
You're a massive gamer, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love gaming. Yeah, so I guess my specialties, I guess, or the unique part of me brings that value to the IOC. Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we need to go on an esports tangent.
Before we go esports tangent, have we got someone on the Athletes Commission now that you're no longer there?
Marcus Daniel is, we went through a process in New Zealand to like select him to be the person to put forward, and then he actually did so well with the campaigning. It was great because I couldn't do it for myself, but I could do it for him. And I just helped him wherever I could and how I could, and gave him as much, support as I could. And he ended up being successful with being elected, which meant that there was no worry about like what the appointment process would look like, etc. So he did amazing, and he's doing a great job in the Athletes Commission. And it's really cool to have another athlete there in the IOC from New Zealand that I can just bounce ideas off, and we can talk about different things. And if he has any questions, like he knows he can ask me and stuff. So
yeah, he can learn from your spreadsheets, your pivot tables.
And I said to him, like, over the 8-year term that he's going to have, I'm sure sooner rather than later, I'll be asking him questions, because the athletes get so much insight into the organisation that I'll be wanting to learn from what he's getting to be part of.
Do you have terms as an independent IOC member?
Kind of.
Because there's some people on there that have been on there a long
time. So
time.
I might fall into that category at some point.
Yeah? A lifer?
Technically I can be there till I'm 70.
Nice.
Really? Yeah.
That's nice.
Yes and no. I don't necessarily agree with it.
Well, you'll be an esports athlete by then, so then that'll be in the Olympic movement.
I've made a promise to myself that if I bring value and I'm relevant, then I can stay there. As soon as I'm irrelevant or not bringing value to the movement, then someone else needs to be in there, because there's only 115 people max from 206 countries, like more than 40 sports around the world that get to have that opportunity. I'm one of those 115 people. The Olympics is bigger than me being one of those people. So if I'm no longer valuable, someone else needs to bring their value. Yeah. So even though it's 70, cool, but I don't want to be like a 60-year-old just sitting on a plane, traveling to events and
playing PlayStation,
taking up space.
There's a real selfless theme through here, eh? Like a lot of the decisions you're making, and you're not wanting to impact someone else, or you're always thinking
block
of
someone's path.
Yeah.
It was actually a challenge to get to being the individual member too. Like I knew I can bring value to the IOC because there's not really anyone else in the IOC that understands esports the way that I do, or I guess understands AI the way that I do, or the technology space at the governance level. So I knew that I could bring value and add things to the IOC that the existing membership didn't have. So that was okay, but also I know there's so many Kiwis that could also bring value in their way that would be amazing. It might not be the same areas as me, but like there's like so many different areas of the IOC that people could make it better. And so it was like, why is it me? And am I okay with it being me? Because if I'm there, no other Kiwi can be an independent member. So no one else can be in the IOC while I'm there, outside of the Athletes Commission, the international federations, and the National Olympic Committees.
So then do you feel a weight of responsibility to be across as much of the other facets that impact the Olympic movement from our country?
I feel a massive sense of responsibility for sure, but also know that it's okay for me to not know everything. And if I know the people who know more than me in the other areas, just keeping an eye out for opportunities to lift them up and bring them along for the ride. So yeah, it's just kind of keeping my wits about me and making sure that I do bring as many people with me as I can.
You can choose to answer this or not, but do you play a good political game?
I didn't think so. So when I got the opportunity to become an independent member, someone actually said to me like, "Oh, you must have done well with the politics," and I was like, "Ugh, gross! Like, how dare you?" Because like the politics piece, like I just have no time for it. I'm just like, can we just get stuff done? Like, we're here to make the Olympics better. Like, end of story. Like, I don't want to deal with like he said, she said, whatever. So yeah, getting a compliment for being around the politics, I was like, yeah, no, thank you. Thanks, I don't get it. But also have learnt since then that I guess understanding how something works and how to get stuff done actually can be considered political. So yeah, I'm on a journey to feeling okay about that being a positive thing.
Yeah, there's a stigma about it being icky and cloak and dagger, but
totally.
If it delivers outcomes that you're interested in, then
yeah, and I always make sure it's a genuine and authentic approach. Like I don't go and be friends with someone just to get something done. It's like I am friends with someone because we're friends.
I don't get the feeling you could be inauthentic.
I'd hope so.
Yeah. Like there's a reason that you've been sort of headhunted and nominated and all this sort of stuff, right? You mentioned you didn't know why you were special. I think it's pretty clear.
And one of the things that came through really clearly was your kindness across all facets, whether it was your kindness when you were an athlete competing, giving a kind word to Laura, who was in a moment of difficulty, or to Jessie as someone that's coming through, or even to other mums around like stuff that you're dealing with. Like that kindness piece like really permeated through every facet of your life. So
thank you.
Hey, just a slight detour here. We've got a segment brought to you by the legends at Maker's Mark. So they believe we're all a little unreasonable about the things we care most about. So the question for you is, have you got an example of a time when one of your unreasonable decisions paid off in the long run?
I do. One immediately comes to mind. And I wouldn't say it was one time I made an unreasonable decision. It's multiple, almost daily decisions to play PlayStation.
Yeah.
So, I've been gaming since I was little. Just went to a BMX race one day and there was, I think it was a Nintendo 64 was at the campground we were staying at. Just immediately was like, I want one of these. Spent all my savings from my first BMX winnings to buy a PlayStation 1 and then bought PlayStations pretty much from that point on. But I actually did lots of different games and have had amazing, like cool times switching off from my sport too. Like, so I'd train, be thinking about BMX 24/7, but then I could switch off and just game, which was great. So one of the outcomes of making those unreasonable decisions actually led me to having all this experience in gaming and therefore esports. And now as part of the IOC, I'm one of like the head people or lead brains, I guess, behind esports at the Olympic level, which is cool. It's so cool. So I've taken like this other hobby of mine to, I guess, the Olympic level, which is amazing. But also, one of the games I used to play was Colin McRae Rally.
That's a throwback.
Yeah.
Great game.
And then I went on to GT5, Gran Turismo 5 and GT7. And I actually won 2 competitions with PlayStation New Zealand.
Like national competitions?
So for GT5, we had like an in-person simulator event for charity. It was like around 16 and then out 8, 4 and then a final. I won that.
Nice.
And in that 16 people was actually Greg Murphy. So
Wow.
beat him.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Low-key flex.
People are like, is that the Sarah Walker?
He kind of argued it's not a real car, it's just a simulator. So that led to me going actually with him for a drive at Hampton Downs in his race car.
Called hot laps.
Yeah, which was
That's what they're called.
which is cool. He almost crashed, but I sat there just pretending like this didn't faze me at all to like kind of be like, oh yeah, whatever, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But then that led me to an opportunity to drive Speedway.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
raced Speedway at Western Springs in Auckland in a like full super saloon Speedway car, which was insane. And then from there, I actually got the opportunity to drive the Otago Rally as a full-on rally driver.
Wow.
Real life. It was just like insane. That all my unreasonable decision to play PlayStation most nights, even now as a mum of 2, has led me to some incredible opportunities. So,
Is there a future where you pursue?
Yeah, are you? Well, which one? I was wondering if you're going to be an esports Olympian
rally
or
driver.
a rally driver.
who knows? Maybe both. But I've recently given. I had such a good experience at the Otago Rally when I was a guest driver. The team that kind of looked after me while I was doing it, they were like, we want to make sure that you get back here at some point. I'm like, please, but I don't have the money. And they sent me a picture recently and said, like, we've got you a car.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
They've built you a car.
Yeah. And they want me to come drive the next Otago Rally. So I am so keen and like so excited.
So it's happening?
Yeah.
When is the next Otago Rally?
April next year
Oh, wow.
Wow.
on my daughter's birthday.
All from Nintendo 64.
All from that moment.
At BMX.
Yeah, just the domino effect across my life in gaming.
Yeah.
That could be the best unreasonable decision that we've
It's
ever
one
had.
of the great answers. Yeah, thanks to the legends at Maker's Mark for introducing that one.
Yeah, thank you.
Just a quick stop on esports, because
Yeah.
where is it currently sitting? Like, is it potentially going to be moved into the Olympics? Is it?
So it's
Olympics.
potentially
Olympics.
Olympic esports games in 2027. And basically we're working towards what that looks like. So it's its own standalone event, not part of the Olympics. So there'll be a Winter Olympics, a Summer Olympics, and a Olympic esports game.
Right.
How do you choose what games get played?
Great question.
Sonic.
Yeah.
FIFA.
The sporting games, I think, are pretty straight.
EAFC.
Yeah, so the sporting games are pretty straightforward. It's the, I guess, traditional esports games that are less straightforward. Like, how do you...
Sonic?
How do you... What? Sonic's probably easier than, say, a Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty's a tricky one because
got
there's
its own
like,
world
it's
champs, doesn't it?
shooting, it's blood, it's like violence. Even though there's a lot of evidence to say that video games don't equate to, like, playing a violent video game doesn't make you a violent person, but it's that perception and it's the Olympic values. How do you marry up the Olympic values with some of the esports titles? So that's still an ongoing journey for the IOC to decide what games are considered, I guess, more acceptable and less acceptable.
What's your favourite?
My current game is Apex Legends.
Don't know.
It's a battle royale game. Basically you're shooting other people.
It's an RPG.
It's kind of
Yeah?
like it's
Man,
kind of
that's
like
the stuff.
Fortnite,
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
but with more character abilities. And the character abilities is what, and the strategy I like.
Is
So
it-
will that be in esports Olympic games?
Not sure yet. That one, like, so the shooting games are the ones that are, I guess, what is the red line for the Olympic movement, and what at what point is it okay and not okay. But then there's no point having an Olympic esports games if you don't have all them, like, not all, if you don't bring in some of the most popular titles of gaming and you just have like the ones that are PG, then is it actually
Yeah.
gonna, like,
What are we
who's
doing?
gonna watch it?
What are we doing?
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of have to go. So yeah, we'll see.
Can I just put a vote in for Jonah's Rugby?
Yeah, of course.
Jonah's rugby.
I'll note it down.
On PlayStation
Jonah
2.
Lomu Rugby.
Yeah, Jonah Lomu Rugby on PlayStation 2. You've got to bring a PlayStation 2 console back in.
Okay, all right.
Why don't you do some of the commentary?
Yeah.
I'll pass
it's a
it
huge
through.
carry on. Yeah, we're
Did you
off
play
track.
that?
No, I grew up, PlayStation 2 was, I bought a PS1 and then a PlayStation 2, then a PS2 Slim.
Actually, it was PS1, wasn't it? Jonah Lomu
Yeah.
Rugby. Anyway.
But yeah, I spent all my BMX winnings upgrading to the latest
California
console.
games? Did you play California games on
I
Sega
played,
Master System too?
Like Gran Turismo and Colin McRae Rally.
I got into gaming because of Sonic the Hedgehog, ironically, and
Gateway.
Yeah.
Mega Drive 2, wasn't it? It was the built-in game on Sega Mega Drive 2.
Yeah, and which was at a campground in Whangarei when I was at a BMX race. So we were at a campground and they had had the game in the playroom, and I'd come home from racing and just go play.
Straight in.
Yeah,
And it's been a companion ever since.
Yeah.
As a busy mum of 2 kids under 5, when do you get time to game these days?
When they're in bed.
Yeah.
Hurry up and go to bed, kids.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
I did want to touch on mum life.
Yeah.
Because I had read this on Wikipedia, so it might not be true, but you didn't hold a baby until you had your own baby?
Yeah,
Actuals?
Yeah.
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 How has it changed? You talk about
I just
Holds them all
figured,
the time now.
I just figured, well, I'm going to get 24/7 practice once they're here.
Yep.
So I might suck at it for the first couple of days, but I'm going to pick it up pretty quickly.
Yeah. How has motherhood changed you, shaped you? Like, how are you dealing with the juggle of everything?
I don't think it's changed me that much, actually, which is cool. I spent a lot of time with DG working through like who I am regardless of what I do, which was so important as I got towards the end of my career. There was so much of me that was Sarah Walker, the BMXer. And it's like, if I wasn't doing BMX, like, who the heck am I? I'm like nobody. And so we did a lot of work where it's like, I'm Sarah Walker, like I am brave, I am creative, I am curious, I am whatever. And I'm all those things, whether I do BMX, I'm all those things at the IOC, I'm all those things in whatever I end up doing in my life, including being a mum. So I don't feel like being a mum has changed me that much because I learned so much about who I am regardless of what I do. But I think one thing that I really like is that when we were thinking of a name for our first kid, I really wanted it to mean courageous or brave. And so her name's Maya, which is actually the Māori name for brave or courageous. And so like every day I'm reminded that I need to be brave as a role model for them, but also as she gets older, that part of who she is someone who is brave. And like that part has carried me through so many things in my life that I wanted that for her. And I guess the backstory of that is Sarah means princess, and I hate it. So I'm like, I want my kids to have names that are meaningful. And so like I chose the meaning before I chose the name. And so for my second, I chose Wisdom, which came to Hazel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to talk to you about was when it's you getting injured, it's you, right?
Yeah.
And you've got a sort of perspective of it, like you work through it.
Yeah.
But I've heard your dad has recently had an injury. Like he came off his bike. And I just wondered what that's like seeing him go through, whatever he's going through.
It's so much easier to be the one being injured myself. Like, so my dad broke his femur. He was mountain biking with my brother and my mum down in Queenstown. And he had to get helicoptered out. Thankfully, he didn't hit his main artery in his leg, which femurs, like, that's the main, like, life endangering thing. My brother was like, oh, it's my fault because I made him go riding, like I chose the trail that we rode. My brother's a professional mountain biker, by the way. So he's like, that's his job. And my mum was like, oh, it's my fault because Dad was like not really keen to go, and I made him. I'm like, come on, let's go. And so like they're both playing themselves, and here he is like in hospital with a broken femur getting surgery, and they're worried about like, I don't know, his heart and his whatever. And like I was like, okay, Dad, if you're gonna die, like you can't. It can't be from this because I'm like my brother and my mum, like they'll never forget themselves. I'm like, you have to die from something else. Sorry, like, and it turns out that because he did such a serious injury, they found out that his stomach and his intestines were twisted from something completely unrelated to the crash, and that had he done nothing about it, he would have died from that.
Holy shit!
Oh wow!
And so like. It ended up being like the best thing possible that he broke his femur and needed that surgery, and it pretty much saved his life.
Wow.
So
yeah.
Yeah. And like the other crazy part was the first person that came along and saw them on the trails was a surgeon.
Yeah.
So like unreal. Like,
That's crazy
That's some
coincidence.
serendipity there.
Yeah.
so yeah, like easier if it's me, but also I'm probably a little bit, I don't know, if numb's not the right word, but like it's just, I worry about it being a mum that when the kids get hurt, that I'll be like, you're fine.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'm not too heartless.
Do they get to travel with you overseas on some of your tours?
Well, some of them, there's no choice. Yeah. So like, especially when they're breastfeeding, like when they've been little. So my 9-month-old now, she's been to Europe 4 times. So yeah, a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And my eldest went to, we did seven trips over to either Europe, I think Europe 6 times and South Korea once before she was 2.
Holy moly.
So they've been traveling a lot with me. Definitely harder than traveling by yourself. But it's part of, like, if I to bring my best to the Olympics, it's like I need to be there, and it's like if they have to be with me, then that will make it work.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Are you one of the only working mums on the IOC?
Not anymore, which is great. But
Or dads?
But
Sorry, or dads.
yeah, true. What's really cool is the new president of the IOC is actually a mum, and her 2 kids are around the same age as mine. Her second kid is actually a week younger than mine, and she's the president of the International Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
is that? That we elected her knowing that she has like an 8-month-old baby.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like that's a global thing, like people from all different cultures, all different places, from that, I guess, stereotypical, like, oh, it's old white men. It's like, no, we elected a young mum to be the leader of the Olympic movement because she's awesome. She's an Olympian, most successful African athlete of all time. Like, she gets it. We want her to be the leader. And we did that. And so that's really cool.
Have I also got it right that because your kids are quite active in Zoom calls and in the background and stuff, that it's given license for other people at the NZOC or others to also have their kind of kids pop in and out of meetings?
Maybe unintentionally, but it's like, I guess, come back to like, how do I bring my best? And if it's juggling, then it's juggling. If it's while they're sleeping, it's while they're sleeping. It's whatever it is. If I can bring value, that's the most important thing. If I can bring value with a baby sitting in my lap while I'm in the meeting, sweet. I know that I'm bringing value and I'm giving my best. And if someone's going, oh, that's not possible with a baby on your lap, then that's their experience, not mine.
Yeah.
And I guess that comes back to that homework I did on that one day. It's like, as long as I know why I'm doing it and I know that I'm giving my best, then that's the most important thing. So those lessons transfer to everything.
Just to go back to that one day, that lesson, are there any other really big ones from DG that kind of still impact and show up in your everyday life now?
So there's one called tennis, which is basically like any time I would have like a real negative, like catastrophe thought, like you're going to crash and like get a brain injury. The tennis approach is like hit the thought back to the complete other side of the court and go, yeah, but what's the opposite? Like, what's the like ideal scenario? Well, yeah, I could come out and win the race from start to finish by like 5 bike lengths. And then it's like, actually, both of them probably aren't realistic. It'll probably fall somewhere in the middle, but either way, I just need to do my process. So each time a thought comes into my brain, whether it's like really good or really bad, it's like do the opposite thought. They kind of cancel each other out and you go, okay, both seem a bit silly. What do I need to do? And it just like brings you back to center, which is so helpful because, yeah, there's in anything we do in life, it's like there might be this will be like worst case scenario over here. It's like, yeah, what's the best case scenario?
Yeah.
It's probably going to be neither, but what are we going to do? Let's go do it. And that's another super helpful tool that I learned. Yeah.
So many good DG. Man, I need to get him back on.
Sure,
for
part
round
2.
2. Yeah. You've got this role potentially till you're 70.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think about your future otherwise? Like, does that give you a certain sort of security with,
No.
you know?
Yes. I guess it, like like understanding who I am as a person. I wanted to understand what kind of things I want to do with my life. And it was a similar process in the sense that I don't want to, like, I didn't think about, oh, this is the job I want to do. I was like, what do I want the job to feel like? Or what do I want it to have? So it's like, I want a job that feels purposeful. That's like the most important thing. But I also want to be creative in that job. I want to be challenged in that job. I want to be like, and I have this list of things that are really important, I guess non-negotiables of whatever it looks like. The title of that job, I have no idea. But knowing what is going to be in that job in terms of like the values of that job or the characteristics of that job, I'm excited by what it could be. I just don't know what it will be. And I guess in the moment, it's just bringing my best to being a mum and being on the IOC. But at some point, I definitely need to have a job to be able to pay a mortgage and stuff. So yeah, the IOC stuff is like priceless experiences, but it's essentially a voluntary gig. So it's, yeah, I need to work at some point.
It's weird. I got the same feeling I do at the end of this one as I did when we had Marcus on.
Yeah.
I was just thinking what a huge future he has, and you can do anything you want to and take it in any direction.
Yeah. But it's also hard though in New Zealand to explain what it is we actually do or what opportunities we're having, because it's like it's so far removed from what I thought it would be, or like, and so trying to explain it to someone else.
That's why we're here. Hey.
It's really hard.
It is, right? Like, have you ever linked up with Dame Sarai Barrowman at FIFA, like to have those conversations with her? Because when the World Cup, Women's World Cup was here in New Zealand, we had her on. We were like talking about things like Saudi money coming into sport and the pressure that is, and transgender eligibility issues with sport. Like, these are hot button topics that you're, I assume, talking about on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of education and upskilling and like learning, which I love. As I mentioned, my parents as teachers and I love being a nerd at school. So learning new things is something that I get a lot of enjoyment out of. So when something new pops up, it's like, okay, what do I need to understand about this to make good decisions? And it's when you open it up to like literally the entire world, it's quite overwhelming, but it's really interesting to learn about how different cultures and different people look at the same things differently. And trying to have that understanding of where they're coming from and from their experience and what they've learned in life and their perception of the world, and then my experience and what I've learned and my perception, they might be different, but if we understand each other, then we can like move forward. And that was something actually we went to Waitangi as the New Zealand Olympic Committee, and that was something that I thought was super powerful in our, like, we were learning, I guess, about the Māori cultural journey and understanding that to a deeper level. And something I loved about the Māori culture was around that, like, you have your experience and we have our experience. How do we come together and how do we move forward? And that was just like, yeah, super powerful. And I just loved that. And made me like wish, part of me was like, I had Māori blood in me, because then I could own it even more. But it's just like such a cool culture for the context of the IOC and being good people, I guess. Yeah.
Sarah, thank you so much.
You are good people.
Yeah, for coming in. This has flown by. We've been talking over 2 hours.
No way.
Yeah. And the depth, we spoke to a lot of people, and it was all about the depth of thought. Yeah. Which I think has become clear to anyone that's with us now. Like there's so much in there, and it's exciting having you representing us. Like it's such a clear thinker. And I've loved hearing about how, the lessons you'd learned from your BMX career, you're translating into life and being brave and courageous and all these things. Yeah, it's been an awesome chat is what I'm trying to say. I'm fluffing, but yeah, thanks for coming in, and I'm so glad that you chose to share your story with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like super, perhaps underappreciated, just the depth of your knowledge and what you're actually doing now. Like, I know your IG's quite empty, but man, we need to get more Sarah Walker just talking in general terms about stuff that's happening and where we're at sport. Like a real, hope you find and land on that job really soon, because you've got so much value to add to our society, not just sporting society, but just the way you look at life and approach it.
Thank you so much. It's been cool, and I really appreciate your guys' approach to, I guess, your research, and before I came, the people you talk to, and understanding, I guess, the different parts of me, but every guest that you have on, it's super insightful. And like I said, I've listened to a couple, and I remember, with Rowan Simpson, you guys giving me crap that I hadn't been on. So now I can rest easy. But yeah, it's really cool what you guys do, and I guess thanks to the listeners if they've made it to this point. But yeah, I guess that's who you're talking to, is people that want to listen to something that is that little bit deeper. And yeah, so thanks so much, and I appreciate it.
Cheers, Sarah.
Awesome.